Love Jottings of a Teenage Slut. Once upon a time, when I was 17 years old, I came home from school on a lovely autumn day. I walked into the dining room, and there, sitting on the table, was my journal. It didn't look very special or precious. It wasn't pink, flowery, glittery, or sparkly. It was a royal blue Mead spiral notebook. A one-subject one, I think. I started my journal when I was 14 years old with a love letter written out to the swim coach's son, Todd Briggs. I was in 7th grade, and Todd was in 9th grade. I went to Catholic middle school. He went to the public high school. My handwriting was this cool mixture of cursive and printing, and the ink was hot pink thin magic marker. I guess that's kind of special. I told Todd exactly how much I loved him and how much we needed to be together. He was an accomplished swimmer. I was an accomplished swimmer. He was a total hottie. I had nice tits for a 14-year-old. I mean, what else was needed, really? So that was the first entry of my journal. The rest of the entries got a bit hotter and a little more involved, as you can imagine. The later entries were what were racing through my panicked 17-year-old brain. My mom and dad now had confirmed proof that I was a slut, and the proof was laying on our dining room table. The panic was intense and immediately made me pit out. My mom, and likely my dad, now knew I had sucked a young man's penis in the back of their bone-colored 1976 Olds Regency 98 in the parking lot of our church and my elementary school for 6 years, Queen of the Miraculous Medal. And not only had they read about me figuring out that a blowjob does not involve blowing air on anything, but actually taking a penis into one's mouth, they also learned that I had lost my virginity to this same schmuck in the back seat of another car, a 1981 burnt orange Ford Thunderbird sedan. There's the back seat. So all of this went through my head, and it was all pure holy shit panic. All my lies I told to get out of the house were revealed. The amount of beer, vodka, marijuana, and sometimes hits of speed were all there too. They had seen all my faux love notes to these young men I had fallen for, and the assorted sad efforts I went to win them over. The hand jobs, more blow jobs, finger fucks, tit feels, heavy necking, and one fuck on a gravel driveway where afterwards I put my shirt on backwards and inside out, and my mother questioned me about it when I got home. Oh, and one other nice first thing that my parents got to read about their baby daughter was getting my pussy eaten out for the first time because of a dare from a senior football player. I was a sad little slut, and my parents now knew it. When my mother actually confronted me, it was obvious she'd been crying, or maybe drinking, or maybe both. In any case, that's when the anger about my privacy, if there is such a thing for a teenager, being violated showed up. Anger showed up actually on both sides. "We don't know what to do with you. We're thinking of sending you to boarding school for troubled girls." I'm still kind of curious what might have happened to me, what I would have learned from this perfect storm of teenage hormones and well-practiced mischief all under one roof 24/7. It's kind of scary to think what that would produce. Of course, I became hysterical, and nothing really positive came out of our conversation. I wasn't allowed to drive for a month, and so it was more punishment for them, and they had to drive me to my job at Godfather's Pizza. It was on one of these drives that my dad told me how disappointed he was in me, which is always the biggest crush to hear, disappointing your dad as his baby girl. This made me cry all the way to work, and when I showed up to work, all my tears, all my mess, my manager, who I actually think was a very good manager, pulled me into his office and listened to my sad little story. And then I went and bussed tables and ran the dishwasher all night, wondering what was next in store for me.